Okay, let's start with the Excel formulas, okay? So the first slide says that a formula in Excel is anything you enter in an Excel cell that starts with equal sign. So it means that if I type, for example, here, if I say that equal to 3 multiply 2, it gives me 6. But if I say 3 multiply 2, it just doesn't show me the result. So if I want to type a formula, it should start from with equality, right? Equal sign. If you do not use an equal sign, it's just a text. So as you can see, it's just a text, right? The most basic formulas use standard math notations like plus, minus, multiply, divide, and blah blah blah. Okay, so make sure that you are typing the correct formula here. All right, so let's go to the next slide. In any formula, you can use numbers. For example, if the formula is equal parentheses 8 plus 4 parentheses divided to 2 power 2, then the value shown in the cell will be 3, right? You can also use cell reference. So in this case, if you have, for example, let me just generate one sheet for you. Then if I say B3, okay, let's see, B2 plus 3, okay, so B2 is here. Let's say B2 is equal to 2, and C3 is, let's say, is equal to 1, and then D10, okay, is here. Let's say it's 2. Then if I say equal to parentheses open B2 plus C3 parentheses close divided to D10, then it gives me the value, right? So if there is nothing here, then it calculates as 0, okay? And if I put it nothing, then the 0 divided to 0, it shows me something is wrong, okay? And then cell references always have the column reference first. So if I want to say that if you look at here, B is the column corresponding this cell, and 2 is the row. So B is always first, right? And then when a formula is being evaluated or calculated, the cell references are replaced by the numbers in those cells. So yeah, so as you can see, this is the number corresponding, so this is the number corresponding the value that we get from the calculation. The cell reference can also refer to a group of cells. So if I just select B2 to B6, it means that I have selected 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cells, right? So if I say equal to B2 to B6, it means that all these cells have been selected, all right? So that's it. And then it says that B2 to E2 refers to the cells B2, C2, D2, and E2. So it's clear, right? And it means that B2 to E2, these all cells, right? And then B2 to E6 refers to the cells B2, C2. So B2 to E6, B2 to E6. So all these cells, right? Okay. All these cells are included. You can also use a combination of cell references and numbers. For example, if the formula is equal to 4 multiply B2, the equation will multiply the value in B2, the value that you have in cell B2, times 4. It's clear. So the next slide says that let's open the Excel file with the name of introduction 1. Open Excel file. So this is the Excel file that we have. Let's delete the sheet that generated before. So let's go to sheet number 1, which is Excel formula 1. Okay, let's read the sentences. For finding total sales, it is sufficient. Okay, so let's look at here. We have number of days from 1 to 10. We have package X sales, we have package Y sales column, and total sales, right? So total sales is the summation of package X cells and package Y cells in each column, right? So for day 1, we have this number. So if I want, I can just type the equation not here, but here. So we can say equal to, and you click to D4 plus E4. That's it. And if I want to use the same formulation for all other rows, then it's sufficient to just, based on the slide, it says that move your mouse to the southeast corner of cell F4 such that sign plus appears. Then you drag your mouse for the whole column to generate the same formulation for the whole days, right? So it's sufficient to do that, right? And that's it. Next slide, it says that go to sheet Excel formulas 2. So this is Excel formula 2. So this is given revenue in dollars 6 and 3, right? 6 and 3. So it means that package X sales, for each unit you can gain $6 revenue, and for each Y, package Y, each unit of package Y, you can gain $3, okay, as a revenue. So for calculating total revenue, it is sufficient to say equal to this value, which is D4, right? D4 multiply D15, each unit of, how many units of X do we have? 6 for day 1. Multiply the revenue that we can reach for each unit of X plus E4 multiply E15. So it gives me the total revenue that I can gain by day 1, right? So that's it. So let's go to the next slide. So in this case, if we just use the drag in Excel formula number 2, okay, if we use this trick, then what's gonna happen? Oh, wait a minute. So the issue is that it just goes to calculate D5 multiply D16. D16 is nothing. Nothing means 0. So it assumes that if we want to drag this cell, we also want to drag this cell as well, which is not correct. So what should we do? So that's why we do something here in sheet number 3, okay? So you can drag the formulation of cell G4 for the following cells, since the formulation is the same for all days. But wait a minute. If you do that, you could face an issue. As you drag the formula for the following cells, you will see that D15 and E15, that is the obtained revenue from selling each unit of package X and y, which should be fixed in your formulation, also be changed. So what we can do is that in order to prevent this issue, we use $sign to fix those cells in our formulation. So we want to fix these two cells, but we do not want to fix these cells, right? So what we do is that we put D4 and we do not change anything for these two cells, but for the case of D15 and E15, we put $sign back of the letter related to the column and also to the row. Okay, both. If we just use $sign for D, we just fix the column. If we use for 15, $sign for 15, it just fix the row. If we use for both, it means that we are going to fix this cell and we do not want to change it, okay? So that's why we say that here we use it, and then if we use this formula and then move the mouse, you can see that we have fixed D15 for the rest of the cells, but D8 and E8, D9 and E9 will be changed, right? So as you can see, these cells have been fixed by $sign, and that's it. So we calculate the total revenue, right? And then this paragraph explains that the $sign, what's the value of the $sign? You choose the $sign to fix the column or row or both of them, okay? In the next slide, you are calculating the total revenue, and it shows that you have calculated the total revenue correctly. In slide number 15, you have to go to function number 1. So the next sheet is using Excel function number 1. So you are going to calculate total sales, average sales, standard deviation, mean, max, blah, blah, blah. So for the total sales, it is sufficient to just calculate the summation. The total sale of package X is the summation from here to here, right? So the summation from D4 to D14. For Y is the same, E4 to E14, and for general total sales for both of them, you are going to calculate F4 to F14, right? And then for total revenue, you do the same. So if you click on FX, then you are able to change the formula, okay? So it said that click on FX to open up the insert function box for you, okay? So if I click here and click on FX, it shows me a set of functions that are available already for Excel, okay? So what is this exactly? This is the file that we have. This is the functions that we have already. So if you look at here, we have sum. So if I click sum, okay, it says that, okay, so which numbers do you want to choose? So I would like to choose from D to D13. I want to do the summation, okay? So I say okay, and it just give me the summation of all the numbers that we have in this column, right? So these are some functions that have been already defined. That's it, okay? And then since we would like to work with some simple functions like summation, like average, like mean, like max, and standard deviation, we have provided all the explanation for them. So let's look at slide number 16. We have the summation for several numbers. So the summation adds all the numbers in the range of the cells. And if you use different numbers, different cells, so it calculates 6 plus B2 to plus B3. So because B2 to C4 means that all these cells, right? And then plus to D9. The average, do the same and calculate the average of its arguments, and make sure that you are entering the right numbers. In slide number 17, you will see that standard deviation calculation. So it's the same. So you have several arguments, estimated standard deviation based on sample, and you definitely need to calculate the correct standard deviation. And then for the case of standard deviation of 6, B2 to C4 and D9, you just calculate all the cells and plus number 6, right? So it considers all these numbers. For calculation of mean, the same. It returns the smallest number in a set of values. So if we put something in quotation, then it does not consider 5 because 5 is a text. If you do not include these quotations, then it understands that 5 is a number, not the text. Okay, so make sure that these are some numbers, not the text. And in slide number 18, you will calculate maximization of several numbers. So make sure that all these arguments are numbers, not the text. Okay. So in the next slide, so you did the summation, right? So you did the summation D4 to D14. I just assume that it can be D13, right? Or because we have only 10 days. And then for this case, so this is D13. And then this is E13, but it's okay because E14 is 0, right? And then you have these cells for this value and the same for G13, right? That's it. And then for the next slide, it says that if we drag formulation for the whole row to get the total cells for all categories, so it's possible. And then you will calculate in the next sheet, you are going to calculate the average cell. So again, in order to do that, so you start from here, click here, click on average, and then you calculate here to here. Okay, that's it, right? And then you drag the formulation and you will see that this is the result that you have. Okay, that's it. And then for the next slide, you calculate the standard deviation. Again, for the standard deviation, you do the same as what we have for total cells, summation, average, and so on and so forth. And then let's go to the next slide, which is calculation of the standard deviation. And if you use the standard deviation, here you will have some numbers like this. So let's do that. So we click on fx, we choose std EV, and then we choose here to here, right? Okay, so in order to have 1 decimal or 2 decimal points after the points, you have to go to as you can see in this slide, it says that select the cell, right click on that, okay, right click on that, then say format cells, and then you can choose decimal places. You can choose 1, you can choose 3. So if you see, look at here, then it's going to be 3, right? And then if you drag this, yeah, all of them is going to be 3 because it's copied for all cells. Or if you want to have 2, then it's going to be 2. And then for the case of sheet number 4, it's going to be minimization of these values, right? Minimization of this, minimization of this, and minimization of this. And then for the case of maximization, you will do the same, and that's it. So sheet number 5, and you will see that you have maximization D4 to D13, right? Okay. And let's finish our video until here, and then we will come back to talk about some notes that we have here. So what we learned in this video is that how to enter some simple formulation in Excel. You can use fx, and if, for example, you want to use different functions, this is most recently used, so you can use all, and then you will see many functions, right? Many functions. So it's easy for you to use this function instead of typing them by hand or whatever. That's it. All right, so please watch next video for getting some notes about Excel formula.